welcome. Also, like, the question is, do I headphone or not? I feel like I look a little bit strange with headphones on. Also, like, the sound of my own voice in my ears is a little much. Anyway, welcome to Networking to Nowhere. I'm so glad you're here. This has been a very long time coming. If you were here after listening to our first episode that we released like 2 years ago, thank you for still keeping us saved in your Spotify. But this is season 2, and I know if you did hear the last episode, you will have heard that, you know, our shtick was that we were going to kind of bring in our friends and interview people on different life paths, especially coming out of school and like all the different things you can do after you leave school, whether it be traveling, uni, you know, all of that stuff. Basically, that was what we were going to make this podcast all about, and we were going to kind of be this like hub for people who were also a bit lost and wanted some ideas. However, the reason that I'm here 2 years after releasing that episode is because that is just not what I want to do. It was really difficult to kind of schedule in our friends to actually come and want to do a podcast, especially one that was brand new and had no traction whatsoever. But also because I felt like a hypocrite talking about that, because I had really no idea what I want to do with my life. I still don't. And in fact, I wanted to call this podcast season 2, I wanted to call it Master of None. I wanted to change the name, but that is actually a Netflix show, and all of the Instagram handles saying Master of None were taken. So we're going to stick with Networking to Nowhere. We're going to make it work. I don't really feel super connected to the title, but I think in time it will all work out. Anyway, there's not much of a plan. Also, if you're watching the video, joking. I have to tell you as well that I actually filmed this whole episode yesterday, and I set up in my room, like, I was in my bed recording it. I don't know why that seemed like a good idea at the time, but I had cool pictures around my bed, so I was like, that's a great set. Anyway, I set up in bed, and I had like a professional camera, and I had these lights just like pointing at it, and I recorded a whole episode, and I really liked the episode, but I just looked like really disheveled in the clips, and I put the card from the camera into my laptop and started watching it back. I was like, oh my god, I actually can't post this. So I decided that today I would retry with a much more like relaxed approach, which is me filming this on my iPhone at my desk. I feel like I can overshare because I'm just at my desk, so I could be sending my friends a Snapchat video like right now. Anyway, I'll let you know some of the ideas that I have for things to come, because I have seriously, like, the reason I'm doing this now is because I've been getting these crazy like podcast ideas that I've just filled my notes app with, and the notes app couldn't take anymore, so I had to just record the first episode and get something going, which is why you're here today. But I'll let you know the plans I have for the next kind of 4 or 5 episodes. I want to kind of hone in, I think, on like a certain topic per episode, and then also I want to have certain reoccurring segments, one of which I actually want to call like, I actually don't know what I want to call it yet, but I know the concept. I want to have a segment where I tell you guys the latest additions to my notes app, because my notes app is a very sacred place to me. I really care about my notes app. I think actually when I die, if like the world saw my notes app, I think any animosity anyone has towards me or like any misunderstandings would be solved, because my notes app is just like me. I don't think I really phrased what I was trying to say right, but people would understand me if they read my notes app, but I will never share it with the world fully. Unless I'm dead. So yeah, I need to come up with a name for that segment. We will actually do a little test run of that later, and I'll go through some of my latest additions to the notes app. The other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to make intro music for this podcast on air. Like, I want to do like a little Logic session, like while recording a podcast, and we can kind of like play around with like some little riffs, and like we could kind of get some music going for like the different, you know, segments, and like the intro music, exit music, all that stuff. I will go through some of the ideas I have for future episodes. So for episode 2, like, I wanted to start kind of honing in on like a topic per episode, and kind of have maybe 15 minutes of that topic, and then we can go on to like kind of like reoccurring segments like the notes app thing. I have a couple of other segments I just need to kind of brainstorm before I let you in on those. But anyway, the second episode I wanted to call The Adults Are Talking, and essentially I wanted to delve into why at the ripe age that I am, I still have a huge inability to talk to adults. There's a lot to be said in this episode. I have paragraphs written already, and, you know, I just think it's maybe a universal thing people have, but like I can't talk to adults. More to come on that for episode 2. And then another episode idea that I had was I wanted to do an episode called Master of None, which is what I wanted to call this whole podcast, but the fucking Netflix show. By the way, if any of you guys listen to Beach House, that song, Master of None, that's like one of my favorite songs. And interestingly, I found out about that song before I knew what Master of None meant. Obviously, there's a whole like quote, Jack of all trades, Master of None, whatever. But I didn't know what that meant. I just really liked that song. And so I think it was on like TikTok, I actually found someone else using the term Master of None to describe someone who was basically did a lot of things and was not actually good at one said thing. And I just felt so seen. So I wanted to do an episode where we really dive into that, because personally I am a Master of None, aka a Master of Fun. But, you know, it's like at the age that I am, I have no idea what career path I want to go down. I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm podcasting right now. I have studied music, I have studied film, I'm actually currently writing a screenplay, and I can't even get into that, but like I'm considering being a screenwriter for the first time. And in fact, maybe I'll do an episode on my screenplay, because I'm kind of halfway through brainstorming the screenplay idea that I have, where it's actually based on like kind of people that I know. I'm kind of scared that they'll find out about it one day. Just realized I have written screenplays before, like recently. I wrote a film called Still Here when I was like 17, and I even made like a mock-up movie poster on like SketchUp. It was a really good film. It was kind of based on my life at the time. It's a little bit conceited. Anyway, we're going off a tangent. You will hear more about my various endeavors in the Master of None episode, which I think will be episode 3. It's kind of how it's looking right now. And then for episode 4, which is as far as I got in terms of planning, I wanted to do an episode on sentimental value, which I know is kind of, I feel like it's a bit of a filler episode, I'm not gonna lie. But there's a lot to be said about sentimental value, and I'm someone that I'm not that sentimental with things. In fact, I'm probably quite a disposable person, in the sense that like I don't really hold like material items to like super high esteem. Like I can easily have a sort out and throw away like a fuckload of stuff. I don't care if it's worth money or not, or whether it was with me during a certain time. It's like, if it's occupying space and it's something I don't want, it can go. So that's really good, knowing that I'll never be a hoarder. Actually though, like my camera roll would probably be the only thing that I'm sentimental about, because if I ever lose my camera roll, then I feel like all is really lost. But like that's kind of my attitude. If I can take a picture of something, then like it's kept forever, you know? So I wanted to go into that. Also, like, I live with people that are very sentimental about things, which is in itself kind of an issue. I'm not going to lie. Like there's a lot of stuff in my house that always has been. Anyway, we'll get into that in episode 4. And then episode 5, I actually lied. I have one more episode planned. This was kind of a curveball, but I wanted to talk about my brushes with Scientology. And I know you're thinking that sounds a little bit insane, but I have got some fun stories when it comes to me getting close to Scientology a few times. Actually, unknowingly. So we're going to delve into that. I hope that has excited you about what's to come. Obviously this episode is not going to be great, like it's my first fucking episode. Anyway, I think it is time to implement our first segment of the episode, which is the Notes app dump. What are my latest additions to the Notes app? This whole podcast kind of was an idea that spawned in the Notes app, and I think it's only right to keep that theme going episode by episode, and I can tell you about my latest and greatest ideas and delusions that I have entered into my Notes app. Also, by the way, I have 3,031 notes, so we're not going to run out of content, which is good. Actually, the first thing is really boring. Like, I have so many lists on my Notes app that I forget to delete, and today I made a list because, oh my god, I had to go like curtain shopping with my brother, and I was told off because I was sat on display furniture in the store, but I wanted to kill myself today in that shop. Like, my personal hell looks like a TK Maxx, and that's just how it looks. Actually, TK Maxx in itself, I get this really weird, I've actually got this since I was a child. When I walk into TK Maxx, I get this like really strange feeling of exhaustion, where it's like, I can't actually explain it, and it's only in TK Maxx do I feel this. I don't know if they're pumping something into those stores or it's the lights, but like I actually can barely stand up. Like my knees get weak, and I remember as a kid, I'd go into the racks, like I'd go into the middle of like where all the clothes were being hung, and I would just sit on the floor, and it was the only way I could kind of relax in this shop. Anyway, I had to go to one of those today because I had to buy my grandparents like a kettle and like a lamp. Anyway, that's so boring. I promise I won't talk about something as mundane as that again, but I just had to kind of I need to know if anyone else has experienced that same predicament in TK Maxx, because it's been something that's been a real constant in my life. The second thing that I found is a draft to an old friend that I wanted to reach out to from primary school, that I still follow her on Instagram, and she is so fucking cool, you guys. Like, she has the coolest drip. She has like the coolest friends. And anyway, this girl was like, we were kind of friends in primary school, but like, I just feel like she actually is like really, I feel like we could be really good mates. So I wanted to reach out to her, but I can't just do that normally. I had to write 3 fucking drafts in my notes app of how I was going to phrase that. I also would read it to you, but I feel like it might be a little bit like she might find me and then think I'm not cool, which we can't have that. The next note I have was outfit ideas for a party, which I've actually already been to, and it was a cabaret theme party, which I don't know. I didn't really know what cabaret was until I Googled it, trying to find like things I could wear that would fit this theme. And I don't know, it's actually kind of good. It was kind of like, it reminded me of something else that wasn't cabaret, like the whole vibe and the theme and the clothes. And I couldn't think what it was. I don't know if it was like, it was kind of giving pantomime a little bit, but I don't think anyone would appreciate me saying that, but it was very like, it was just theatre vibes, I guess. And yeah, it was kind of strange. It was my parents' friend's party actually, and my brother and I went because we were taking photos of the guests, which was really funny because I also saw like an A-list celebrity like get her face eaten by someone, like not literally, I mean like it was just like violently making out in my friend's TV room, but I don't know, it was just kind of strange to see that, but love that for her. Oh, the next note that I have, actually, this is a fun one. This is a whole thread of notes, and I'll have to give you a little bit of backstory here, because I've actually titled this in my notes app the Letterbox phenomenon, because I recently got on Letterbox, which if you don't know is an app for like, it's like a social media app for reviewing movies, and I downloaded it and became insanely addicted to it, and I actually have like reviewed every movie I've ever watched as a child is now on there. And they're not just like, I don't just do star ratings, I write like diligent like text reviews, and I just became really obsessed with reviewing things. And so I've used that same concept throughout many aspects of my life. In fact, I shit you not, I reviewed a fucking Granny Smith apple that I got from Waitrose the other day, and it was one of the best Granny Smith apples that I couldn't just eat it and move on. I had to document that experience, which I did, and it's in this whole subfolder in my notes app now called the Letterbox phenomenon, and it's basically where I just review everyday things. Like, I think I reviewed, what else did I review? I don't know, I reviewed a charity shop. It's a little bit sad. I have this thing where, like, you know when people like are on their phones in public, like on the train, I could never do that. And so the notes app reviewing thing that I do is kind of a publicly acceptable thing that I can do without feeling like someone's looking over my like brain rot TikToks, if you get what I mean. Anyway, moving on down the notes app, I also have my plan for my USA trip. I've not actually booked any tickets or anything, or have like as much as a date for when this is gonna happen, but I have a list of things that I really want to do on this trip. Basically, I have this dream of like renting a car and just like going cross country around the states for a little bit, and there are certain places that I want to visit state by state, one of which is the Mark Twain National Forest in Missouri, because I have developed a recent obsession with Mark Twain, which I know is kind of strange, but I bought like a mini series of books on Amazon of like the Mark Twain novels, like Huck Finn and shit. Also, there's a really good cartoon on YouTube called, what is it called? It's called like The Adventures of Mark Twain, and it's essentially like a weird little film. I think it actually won an Oscar. I think it came out in like 1986. It's just like a really weird little animation with like some cool aspects to it. So if you ever want a strange watch, if you're like stoned, you should watch it, because it was quite good. Another place I want to go is the Ozarks, which is also in Missouri, because one of my favorite shows was called Ozark, and I just really like the vibes of that whole show. And like actually the area, like the Ozarks, is kind of similar to where I live now. I just feel like it could be cool to go like see it for myself. Anyway, that's like what I'm going to be doing in Missouri at some point this year, hopefully. Moving on, I have some style ideas for like things that don't exist, but like I need to buy or somehow figure out like how I'm gonna get them made. One of which is like, I want a trucker cap with the Crestron logo on it, and like I know that is insanely niche and most people probably won't even realize what that is, but like Crestron is like this they're like an electronics company. They make like infrastructure or like systems for like houses and like offices, I think. And really fun fact is I actually learned how to like program like their lighting system because, again, master of an episode, I went through like an electrician phase, and anyway, I learned how to like program these like bougie fucking lighting systems. Anyway, another really random side quest, but I want to make a cap, like a trucker cap with the logo embroidered on it, and like wear it as fashion, because I don't know, I feel like it could just be cool. Like, I don't know, there's kind of lore to that company. Anyway, I think that kind of wraps up the notes app. I will hopefully have like a little bit of music for that next time. And also, I do apologize for my delivery throughout this episode. I am still very new to the concept of podcasting, and I find myself losing my trail of thought slightly too often. So maybe I should get back on my ADHD meds for this. Probably not. Actually, that would be kind of a fun topic to talk about in an episode, but yeah, I hated my ADHD meds personally, but I was still on them for a long time before I realized that. But yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to Networking to Nowhere. Please come back next week for like some more fun content, and you know what? Send in any like suggestions you have. Also, I don't know if I'm going to be using my real name for this yet, which is why I've not addressed myself. I will figure that out at some point and let you know a name, and it's on you to figure out if that name is real or not. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, love ya. See you soon. Bye.